Let's talk about the interaction 3D nodes in Ventuz. To do that, like always, I jump to a new scene and I switch to my logic layout. You can find the 3D interaction nodes in the interaction category in the toolbox. And here we have actually two 3D nodes, the touch transformation 3D and our touch orbit. Of course, all the other nodes I explained in the previous tutorial, you also can use for cubes, for 3D objects, right? But I split this into two because they are a little bit more complex than the others. Plus, I also will explain you one more thing, that's the tick spacing, what I forget in the previous interaction tutorial. So let's start with the touch orbit first. To bring in the touch orbit, drag and drop it here, and let's add a cube, and let's size that a bit up, 10 by 10 by 10, and maybe also a little bevel. If I select now here my touch orbit, and you can see that outputs here, and I can move now and rotate my cube in the Y rotation and in the X rotation as well, right? And as you can see, we have here that three values, the azimuth, the inclination, and the scaling. So the scaling you also can control with the touch screen, basically with two fingers, like I also show you in the previous tutorial. And like all the other nodes, you have here pretty much the similar settings, right? Where you also can set up limits and the reset behavior and also the input mapping. So the input mapping is default by none. That means he's going to infinite numbers in negative and positive numbers, but you also can say, I want to have it unsigned. Then he's basically give you only 0 to 360 values with both rotation values. And if you go to signed, then you will basically get outputs here from this both rotation values from 180 to minus 180, okay? As you can see here, that azimuth, if I go down to 170, 180, now at that 180 he jumps to the negative value, right? Okay, let's choose the second node. That second node is our touch transformation 3D. If we put that here in and if we select it, then we can see, as the name already explains, the touch transformation 3D also allows you to transform, basically to move the position of that cube on your screen. This is also possible with a multi-touch screen, basically with two fingers. Then you can move your screen in X and Y, and you as well can basically scale it up with two fingers, right? And as well, we can rotate it here. And here we have totally free rotation in all three axes. Plus, we also can set up here our limits as well as the reset behavior. When we open here our behavior settings, you can also see we have full access to all that behaviors, like in the 2D interaction nodes. Let me show you and explain you the tick markers here now. So to do that, let's delete this. And let me show you that on, for example, our touch rotation. It's a bit more easy to explain. And let's use here a rectangle. Let's put that guy here. And let's make it a bit larger as well, maybe 15 by 15. Exactly. So as you can see, now we can rotate that guy over our Z axis, right? Without any, basically ticks, right? Let's say I want that every couple of degrees that rectangle is logging in, right? So I can do that if I simply select here my interaction node and I go here to my edit behavior, and down here under the tick markers I can say, okay, every 45 degrees I want that my tick marker is logging in. As you can see, if I move it a bit down, he will jump back to 0. If I go over that, yes, basically half of that 45 degrees, he will log in at the next 45 degrees and so on, right? We also can basically set up whatever value we want to have. If you say, hey, I want to have that every 10 degrees, right? So you can see now every 10 degrees, our rectangle is logging in with the, to the next value close to that 10 degree value.